right, it's 2:05 on dot, and yeah, so we would need to proceed. Yeah, we would need to proceed. So welcome. I'm so glad to have every one of us here. I'm very glad, and yeah, so first of all, I would like to specially recognize our speakers who joined us on time. Mr. Ajibola Jinadu, yeah, I'm so glad to have you here, sir, and thanks for joining us on time. Welcome. I also specially recognize Mr. Richard Mola, yeah, Richie the big man. Yeah, so I'm so glad to have you here too. And every one of us, I'm so glad to have every one of us here. So I think we just need to get started while others join us along the line. So coming, I will be sharing my screen shortly while we get started. Today's webinar promises to be value packed. Actually, yeah, because it's going to be loaded. Speakers have a lot of insights to share with us on the theme of the webinar. Yeah, so, and I believe we know the theme for the webinar, right? Yeah, so that's power of networking. You know, how would the network impact your career growth? Yeah, so, and we have capable speakers. I mean, we have experienced industry leaders as our speakers for today's session. This is Ahmed Sunuka. Yeah, and I'm the host for today's session. Yeah, so let's get started, please. Our speakers can't wait to dish out those values, you know, those loads of values that we have for you guys. Yeah, so I would like us to confirm in the chat box if you can hear me, if you can see my screen, and if you can see me too. So kindly go to the chat box and kindly comment, please. Just comment, I can hear you, I can see your screen and all that. Yeah, please do. I want to specially recognize one of our speakers again that joined us now, the person of Mr. Sadiq Yunusa. I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome, Sadiq the Genius. So guys, I think it's time to set the ball rolling. Yeah, so now, as I promised, and as I said earlier, it's going to be value packed. Yeah, so but before we dive in, I would like to walk us through some instructions for today's webinar. Yeah, so, and they go as thus. We expect that all participants should mute their microphones. Yeah, and in case you have questions, because I know you would surely have a lot of questions, you can just put it in the chat box. And yeah, when we get to the Q&A session, definitely it will be attended to. Yeah, and most importantly, ensure you shun any distraction, anything that will distract you from getting the values that you're to get in this webinar. Ensure you keep them off. Don't allow any distraction. So the order of programs, basically, at the introduction speech, welcome speakers, and our speakers will get to talk. They'll get to share the loads of values they have with us, and also talk about what we do at Excel Academy. Then we'll talk about the Q&A session, and we're done. Yeah, so let's embark on this exciting journey together. So glad to have you. First speaker will join us shortly. I will be starting with our second speaker. It is person of Mr. Ajibola Jinadu. Yeah, FCCA. Yes, I know you must have. Some of us know him very well. Yeah, most of us definitely. Yeah, so Mr. Ajibola Jinadu is a fellow of ICAN and ICSAN, and he has diverse wealth of experience with the big four firms and also industry leading manufacturers, which is a platform that connects SMEs and also the team that contains best chartered accountants, best advisors, best corporate experts. Best corporate governance expert in the industry. Yeah, so you might want to check out my CFO NG. Yeah, definitely you would get a lot of value. Yeah, so check my CFO NG out. Here we have Mr. Ajibola is so ready to give us the loads of values that would help us to move our career forward. Mr. Ajibola, I'm so glad to have you, sir. Welcome. Can you Can you please say hello to the attendees?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me and see me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Yeah, I can hear you. So please, guys, let's put it on chat box if you can hear Mr. Adibola on. Yeah, so just put it on chat box. Thank you. Yeah, so welcome, sir. I'm so glad to have you, sir. I'm very glad. Yeah. So and I want you to share with us. Yeah. So I did a run through of your career progression, and I'm wowed. Yeah, I'm wowed. So I would like you to share with us the success stories of how networking has led to a successful career for you, sir, and also how networking has landed you successful career opportunities. So you have the floor, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. And I'm glad to be here. Although I didn't expect to speak as soon as as I've been called, but no problems. Idris is running late. All right. So let's get into it. Success stories. So I guess one of the first things before I go into this is to see what's really a network, or what's really a network. And it's just the people you have in your corner. That's what it is. So the question is, who do you have in your corner? So some people are lucky, and I would say lucky to have their family and friends actually be in their corner, and then they can use them. Sometimes you have to go outside within your family and friends, people you grew up with, to actually get other people into the network. But so the idea is, the whole point is, what people do you have, or which people do you have around you to help you when you need something? It doesn't necessarily have to be career opportunities, but let's keep it to career opportunities in this space. So this question is very interesting because it actually took me down memory lane, and to be honest, I'd never really considered it. Like, okay, yeah. So all the jobs that I've had, or all the opportunities that I've had, is it me just not knowing anybody? Did I just apply, and then without knowing anybody, somebody called me and say, yes, this is the interview or something like that? And I now realized that no, that's actually not what happened for the most part of my career. Like, I've actually built in networks to the point where in some places I had to ask, in some places I didn't have to ask, but at the end of the day, people actually did help me. So I'll start with my first real job, or say my second real job, but the first one is also the same. Getting into Deloitte in 2009. So the first person that helped me was my mom. She'd always knew I wanted to join a Big Four. I was working somewhere else then at First Pension Custodian, which she also helped me get into anyway. And we were still having the discussions, and my mom knew somebody that was at Deloitte, and somehow she was like, yeah, tell your son to bring a CV or something like that. And then somehow we dropped the CV, and then next thing you know, I was called for an interview. And I was living in Lagos then, but this was for an interview at Deloitte Port Harcourt. So at the end of the day, yes, maybe when my CV got somewhere and someone liked it and said, okay, come for an interview in Port Harcourt, maybe all that was down to me. But the first point of call was my mom saying, okay, yeah, come, let's get you a job. I know someone at Deloitte. And then before you know it, she was talking to someone. So if I didn't have her, it might have been difficult to talk to the person myself, because the person is not within my network. So she talked to someone and said, bring the CV and all that, at least. And I know a lot of us can relate to something like that. You just know someone and say, yeah, bring your CV. You never know what it's going to lead to. But then I leveraged on my own network, and then she leveraged on a network. And then that was how I actually got my first job at Deloitte. I actually still had to do the interview, pass tests and all of that. I mean, so it wasn't like I just knew someone. But then that was the power of leveraging the network in the very first place. I mean, it's a different time now. I mean, now you just go online and all, but then you really had to know someone who say drop your CV and things like that. So that's my first one. Then after about 8 years, I was ready to move on to be a CFO. Actually, I just wanted to move on anyway from Deloitte, and the person that actually helped. So I was dropping CVs left, right, center, obviously. But my very good friend, Uche Ikelaka, was actually the best man at my wedding again later on. He knew I was looking for a job, and then he went to church. I was at church, and at church they said, "Oh, we need a company is looking for this," and he was like, "Oh yeah, Ajibola is looking for a job. Of course, Ajibola, drop your CV in this place." I know. So now this is somebody that was my actual friend as within the network. So I want to I'll say that at the end. So he just at the end of the day, I met him where I was working. I met him while I was working, where I was working. I met him when I got into Deloitte, and then we became friends there. And then from friends like that, then he was able to help. So again, I dropped my CV. I still had to do what I had to do, impress the hiring manager and things like that. But that's how I actually got my first CFO job from my friend. Then a few years later, when I decided to actually start my consulting firm, my very first client came from my sister. I found my sister's boyfriend. She just talked to her boyfriend, and also yes, I was trying to get jobs or things like that, but then just talked to myself. Like, yeah, my friend needs this, my friend needs that, and I got my first job. So all of this, you can see that it's coming from people you know and things like that. Then afterwards, so after I started my firm and things got tough a bit, I had to go back to look for a job. And in this instance, I interviewed somewhere, randomly. I interviewed somewhere and then met the HR manager. And then after a few levels of interviews, it didn't work out well. It didn't work out fine for me. So that didn't happen. Then what happened was the HR manager actually left that company and went to another company. But then I'd stayed in touch with her. And when the other company was looking for someone, she just let me know directly that, I have something for you. Would you like that? And I was like, sure. And then I took the opportunity, and that's actually got my second CFO role. After a while, because I went back to my consulting business, after a while, I was just having lunch with a Deloitte partner, and it was like, we have this opportunity here, or this role here, they are opening a delivery center. We're looking for the regional Africa head. Is this something you would like to do? I'm like, yeah, sure. I can add it to my business or to what I'm doing. And just like that, they called me for an interview, which really wasn't an interview. And that's because we had actually been talking. So we worked together, yes, at Deloitte. He was a partner, I was the manager, but we worked together. But then it wasn't just the working. After the working, there was just this relationship that we formed. And then when we were just talking, he was like, yeah, we need somebody. And can you do it? I know. And things like that. And finally, some of you might be aware that I have a podcast, or a LinkedIn Live podcast called My CFO Diaries. So one of our guests, I think it was the third episode, yes, Mr. Ayodele Olaterugun. It was just a guest on the show. I was blind. I mean, I didn't know him from anywhere, but we reached out and then became a guest on the show. And after the show, like I did with all the guests, we just kept the line open. So it wasn't just for the show. After the edition episode, we're still talking and things like that. So we're just talking about ideas, rubbing ideas and things like that. A few months after the episode ended, he actually got an appointment to be the Director of Finance and Accounts at the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. And then he needed somebody to be a special advisor. Guess who he called? Because I was top of mind. those are examples all over my career, which I said like I didn't really think of, and I'm sure there's more, but those are the highlights. So the idea is that yes, you can start with family and people who you know, but then you can also then go into people you meet along the way, and the idea is to keep the lines of communication open. Once you keep that open, then there'll be a lot of there'll be a lot of opportunities you can actually have. I'm sure there's another question which I'll go into the principles behind this deeply, but those are examples from my career that I can say are success stories of how networking has led to opportunities.
All right. Thank you very, very much for those wonderful insights which you shared. And I got a major, a major point from what you said. I mean, building relationship. Yeah, that actually matters a lot. I mean, imagine how you were able to keep in touch with the HR, from the previous, contact, right to the, a new job and all that. I mean, it's a whole of work actually, and I mean, one has to be intentional about it. Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Ajibola, for sharing that with us. And so let's dive into the second question quickly. To ease it now. The question goes as thus: how can one effectively ask for job opportunities or referrals from their network?
Okay, so this question is a bit, should I say, cultural. So asking in our geography, in our culture, is something that we think we how do I want to put it? I don't want to sound negative, but I just want to highlight the problem. So in our culture, the asking usually comes with a bit of entitlement, and that's where a lot of people get it wrong. So my answer to this is going to be more principle based, so that people can apply it in whatever way they deem fit. And the first thing that one needs to know about a network is, a lot of people think of a network as people they can get stuff from, and very few people think about their network as people they can give something to. So for me, the principle of having a network is, first think of, what can I give to my network? So if you are building a network so that you can ask for things in the future, then you are missing the point. It can work, but it's not effective, because then you be like a pest. So that's the first principle. Really think about when you're building a network, is more like, what can I give to the network? And I know a lot of people think about, the people I want in my network are bigger than me, blah, blah, blah. What can I give to them? But the truth is, there's so much you can actually give. And in an environment where a lot of people are getting asked for a lot of things, somebody asks for this, asks for that, when you actually give something to these people, you just stand out. So that's one part. The second part of the principle is, you need to build your network long before you ask for the job, or for the job opportunity. So long before you need a job, long before you need a referral, long before that is when you need to build it. So fortunately, family and friends might just be that, but then when you're thinking outside the box, it's not when you need someone and say, oh yeah, I know this person, he works here, he works there, blah blah blah, and then you start to ask, then that won't be effective. So once you're building your network, and you start with, you know what, I want a long-term relationship with this person, because this is what I can offer the person. And eventually, you also think about what the person can offer you, but then you're thinking more of what you can offer the person. Once you build those two things long in advance of when you need a job, that's how it's going to be a lot more effective. So in my own story, none of the people that I talked to were just people that I talked to in that moment where I needed something. It was just people that already built that relationship with, and there are people that I know that I could offer something to, and they know that I could offer something to them. So asking them becomes a lot more easier. So just think about it. It's easier to ask a friend for something than to ask a stranger. And even acquaintances are, so you might know people, but they don't know you, or you might not know them like that. And then the first time you speak to them is, please, I need a job, or I know you are working here. Can I drop my CV here, or things like that? Those won't be effective. So those are the two major ways you can actually do that. So I actually wrote something here. So when you're building your network, be intentional, be very intentional. Don't look down on anyone. So what people that maybe have worked for 15, 16, 17, 18, 20 years or above, what they call connections, or what people call connections, are people that literally we started together. So if you think about where you're working right now, there are people that you got into the same office on the same day as maybe as first years and all of that. Then over 10, 15 years, everybody has gone their different ways, and somebody is now the head of something somewhere, head of HR somewhere, the MD/CEO somewhere. So a lot of people might just know them as head of this, owner of this, the director of that, but then your network, what you're calling connections are people that like you literally grew up together and all. So don't look down on anyone in building your network. It's very it's very beneficial if you can do that. So when you want to engage, one last thought, when you want to engage with someone that it's probably you think is higher than you, maybe because of the experience and things like that, you engage with engage with them, engage with whatever they put out, or engage with what they are passionate about. So in my own case, for example, I do get a lot of requests like, please give me, I need a job, I need a referral, I need this, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And so it's not like I'm being snobbish or anything, but then there are a lot of people that I know that are already asking me for help. Then there are people that I don't know that are asking me for help. Who do you think I'm going to prioritize first? So one of the best ways to actually do is to probably get my attention with some things. Maybe, so I have a book out there. My book is maybe like 2,000 naira or 3,000 naira, and you buy my book. The fact is that once you buy my book like this, I already even know that, okay, you maybe that's top of mind, and the book is how much, like it's a small investment. And then you can talk to me about the book. You can engage on my post on LinkedIn. There are just many ways. So at least they're already top of mind. So it's not as if we are talking every day, we are already friends, but then some sort of relationship has been formed. And if you read the book called, The Psychology of Persuasion, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. One of the biggest things you can do with influence is, one of the principles there is reciprocity. So once you actually do something for someone, it's very likely that they feel like they owe you. So even if it's for a big person, quote unquote, and you get them to notice it, then it's easier for them to actually try to do something for you as well. So I encourage everybody to read that book, and also read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So all of this is just more being strategic about this. It doesn't fall on your lap. Once or twice it will fall on your lap, but The whole idea is to really be intentional about this. Build the network from your friends, from people you work with, and things like that. Stay in touch. Then when it's actually time to ask for a job or opportunity or a referral, then it's just easy. In fact, people will start to even refer you even without you asking them, because they already know what you can do and they already know the value you can give. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's loaded. That's loaded. Thank you very much, Mr. Jibola. I'm so glad. Yeah, so I mean, some major key elements that I picked up from what you said was that when people network, when people reach out, they tend to be focused on what they would gain. Yeah, instead of okay, what can I offer this person? Yeah, and that's true. I mean, maybe in Nigeria or something like that, we can call that like an entitlement mentality. Do you get? Yeah, so definitely we just have to like change the mindset. Do you get? I mean, you get to how do I put it now? You get to relate with people better when you have something to offer them. To get that, not just that you want to get from them. Yeah, so that's very, very nice. Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you very much, Mr. Jibola. I'm so glad have you as one of our speakers. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, in case you have questions for Mr. Jibola, you can drop them on the chat box. Definitely, I would compile them, and I mean during the Q&A session, we would definitely direct them to Mr. Jibola. Thank you very much, Mr. Jibola. I'm so glad to have you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, thanks, sir. So so welcome, Mr. Idris Inde. I especially welcome you, sir. We're so glad to have you here. And so now let me do an introduction for Mr. Idris Inde. Here is our first speaker. So Mr. Idris Inde, is fondly called the Big Four-Star General. Someone that has worked with all of the Big Fours. Yeah, let me just break it down. Yeah, so he's an experienced chartered accountant and a CFA charter holder, with over 11 years of experience, in technical accounting, finance transformation, and the likes. So definitely he has worked on engagements spanning from IFRS conversion, advisory and training, financial reporting automations, and the likes. I don't want to bore you with, with that. Yeah. So, but Mr. Idris Inde, I can arguably say that, yeah, he's one of the industry leaders, when it comes to accounting and finance, as a whole. So, welcome, sir, Mr. Idris Inde. I'm so glad to have you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, but can you hear me now, please?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So glad to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, all right, can you say hello to the attendees, sir?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I can introduce, my name is Idris Inde, and it's an honor to be here this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to the session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so now let's quickly dive into the first question, which talks about why is networking important for career growth, and also would like to your personal experiences as regards how networking has significantly impacted your career, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for the questions, and once again, thank you for having me on the session. I think going back to the question, sort of starting with in terms of why networking itself is quite important for career growth. People usually say that the how far you can go in some instances, it's not just based on exactly what you know as well, but to a larger extent as well, it's also about who you know as well, and and that principle it's something that is universally applicable as well. And I think I joined when Jibola was mentioning something around the fact that someone had an opportunity, and the first person that came to mind was him because he knew that person. And I think that's something similar as well. Like, even when you find yourself in the corporate world and you're working, when new opportunity pops up, people would usually recommend you for those opportunities because they've interacted with you, or they've had conversation with you around similar topics, or they know that's something that you're interested in. And on that basis, they would sort of gladly sort of nominate you forward for those type of opportunities as well. So networking itself, it's really quite important. It's not just about chatting with people, or just having like a list of like, oh, this is the number of people that we know. But in terms of the various sort of like importance that it plays, particularly in helping one to navigate their career. And I think one of those key examples, like I mentioned earlier, is that the sort of access to like opportunities in the sense that depend on the people that you'll be able to network with, whether in place of work or in place of worship or in other social gatherings as well. Oftentimes, when people have opportunities for job or things, or maybe they need to feel like something within their place of work, some opportunities are not even advertised publicly, but people know those opportunities exist, and they would often, in first instance, reach out to people that they know. So it's very, very important to for personal career growth, in the sense that by virtue of your network, could give you access to a lot of opportunities that you probably wouldn't stumble by on your own, maybe by searching through the internet and the like. So that's like very important, the access to opportunity. I think the second bit I probably want to mention is the fact that your networking itself could be a tool that could sort of help to increase your visibility, I'll put it that way. Visibility in the sense that when you are probably like active within like some specific type of circles, or you sort of you have like some people within your network, maybe by virtue of associating with those type of people, it could give you much sort of like visibility that you might need as well. Take yourself for example, is maybe you probably form like a very good relationship with like maybe like the MD or like a partner in your place of work, such that you probably work with them quite often. What would happen is, it might require that, when you're probably attending like some meetings or going for some, conferences or some events, because of like your network, or you guys are from that to like, working or professional relationship, you might in some instances, attend some of those events. And what that creates is it sort of creates visibility for you as an individual that you probably wouldn't achieve or by yourself as well. Right? I think it's also like quite important, to stop, have like a very good network, or try to network as well, in the sense that it could, help you in terms of like your knowledge building as well, in terms of like, to help you develop as well. You have some people that, they have like some senior people in their network, such that when they are stuck or when they need to get guidance on specific things, they could always bounce those ideas off people, or they could seek the knowledge of those people as well, right? So it will be difficult for you to reach out to someone that you can reach out to people, but before you probably form that level of relationship where when you have like some things to quickly bounce off people in terms of knowledge, it's people that you probably have in your network that you can do that. You can sort of seek those type of knowledge from almost directly. I think another thing I would probably say, sort of like the importance of it is the fact that, and that probably just be the last one, in the sense that generally as well, it could help in terms of your career advancement. In the sense that, and I think this is quite linked to like the visibility points I mentioned, or find that it gives you access to opportunity in the sense that having a very good network as well could be quite instrumental in terms of maybe them recommending you for for some work or for some opportunity. And I'll give you a very good example of myself, and that probably lead me to answering the second question as to my own personal experience where networking has significantly improved my career, right? So I think it started from the first just sort of sort of job that I got outside school. So it was with PwC, but at that point, it was outside the PwC recruitment cycle. So I interned as a graduate intern at first at PwC. And how did I get that opportunity? Because when I was still at the university, I was the president of my departmental association. So it means I needed to organize some conferences and programs, and we had lots of guests, from people in practice and various professions. But I kept in contact with some of these people, and that's why when I had opportunity, when I was done with school and with the university and trying to get a job, I just let me just leverage on this opportunity, and I got an internship role at PwC. What it just required was for me to send an email to one of the partners in PwC that I gained the contact while I was still in university, that I'm still job searching, but while doing that I'm looking for an opportunity to intern. And then a month after, I got the internship opportunity at PwC. That's just purely based on network, because there's no advert anywhere outside in the public that PwC that department needs an intern at that point in time. But I reached out to my contact, and then in a month after, I got an internship role in that opportunity. That's one, right? I've moved job a couple of times, and there are instances where some of the people that I've worked with previously, where they had opportunities where they are working currently, and they reached out to me. My former boss, the first place I worked, KPMG, when I was in KPMG in the UK, the person I worked with has moved on from KPMG as well, and on 2 occasions where they had opportunities in their team, before even the job was advertised in the public, they actually reached out to me to say, are you interested in this role, before advertise it in public. So it means if I was interested in those 2 roles, I would probably have gotten those roles even before it was advertised in the public, essentially. So that's sort of another sort of example of what in my own sort of personal experience as well, in terms of building that sort of networking and how it could impact your career as well. I think the last example was there was a client that I worked with while I was still when I started my career at Deloitte at some point in time, and it was more a very complex sort of client, and the person that was handling the job was much more senior, but the person resigned, so I had to take over that role to deliver on that client. So I was quite professional and matured in the way I handled that client, such that the CEO of that client actually reached out to me, and I sort of maintained that sort of good relationship with that person, such that at some point later in the year, the person actually wrote an email to my partner in terms of to comment what I'm doing and stuff like that. And there's a point when it was time for promotions and I Deloitte, and that email was actually quite instrumental in putting a case for me to get a double promotion while I was at Deloitte at that point in time. So I can say in terms of you can't underestimate the impact of having a good network, and as much as possible leveraging on that opportunity when the need arises, and managing that relationship consistently. And it's a lifelong opportunity anyway. So it's not a one-off thing. And one thing that I think is quite important is keeping in touch with your network is very important. And by that they would always keep you at the top of their mind, and such that when this opportunity pops up, you would always be on the top of their list. And when I joined my new firm I'm working currently, one of the things I did was joining a new place, one of the things you can do is to, it's like, I mean, it varies based on the department, but one of the things people do is when they join new places, they carry their laptops and just sit in the corner in the office, and they only just greet people when someone says hi to them. One of the things you will want to do is, when you join a department, ask questions in terms of, what's like the structure of, the department that you're working, who's leading the department, who are like the key people. And there's nothing bad in setting like a 10-15 minute, coffee or tea catch up with this person, and just, introduce yourself. Oh, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I've recently just joined, and particularly if you're an experienced someone, right? So things around, talking about like your experience, what you bring to the table, the kind of stuff that you do. One of the first set of works or engagement that I worked on, which is like very massive engagement when I joined EY, was engagement in which some partners recommended me for, and the reason why they recommended me for those jobs, so for those engagement, was because they remembered during like my initial like 10-15 minute catch up when I joined the firm, was I had an introduction with them. I told them this is my experience, this is what I can do. And then when I see like email trails of of how like some job landed on my table, it was because like a partner that I've spoken with about 6-7 months ago will remember that, oh, I think he just mentioned this thing, he said he can do this thing, and that's just basically how I got to do some of those type of engagement as well. I think I'll just stop there in terms of this first question, but happy to take further question on that if that's helpful.
All right, thank you very, very much, Mr. Idris. You shared so many valuable insights, and but one of your key principle I took. You said reaching out. You don't just when you join an organization, you don't just keep to yourself. You're trying to socialize, trying to reach out. In a way that would not like affect the work, definitely. But reaching out, let them know what you bring to the table. That's very, very important. That's very, very important. So I really appreciate that, Mr. Idris, and thank you very much for that. So let's quickly dive into the second question. So the second question goes as thus: what advice would you give to someone, someone like me who is just starting to build their professional network?
What am I saying? So building that network, it could be from like someone that you guys are probably of like the same level of qualifications or age or professional experience and stuff like that. Because in the past there has been like some job opportunities that I got from someone recommended to me, that like from my friend. So when people think about professional network, people often think that it has to be someone above you. That's just one mistake that people try to make. Like when you're building your network, ensure that it's balanced. It's not just people above you. It should also be people that are at your level, because ultimately people that are at your level would at some point rise to higher positions, and ultimately they might be who you need to get to some specific places. And that's why professional practice, when you work and you're working with clients, regardless of how junior the person at the client office that you're working with, maintain a very good relationship with them, because ultimately that junior accountant in that company today might probably be the CFO in that same company. If they stay long there, they might rise and become the CFO of that company, and it might be a time where you need something from that company. But if you've not had like good relationship with those persons when they're a junior accountant, then how do you expect that they would want you, or they would want to establish anything with you when they are now the CFO of that company? It's just logical. So people often sort of ignore that element of networking, and I think that is really like something very important, that you don't just ignore people. Aside from the fact that it could be that they would also have like opportunities, and they will always share with you. But starting point is you need to sort of like develop like a networking mindset, and what does that mean is that you need to. Networking is not something that happens accidentally. It's something you need to take conscious effort to do. It would require that you treat everybody well with respect, and 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 sort of create that sort of like relationship with people, regardless of whether they are junior or senior to you. And like I said, you have to be like quite deliberate about making networking, like creating a network with people. It means that if you're probably going to like an event or to a meeting or going to a new place, you probably want to make like some effort to understand, what are the people that are coming to this event. So one of the things that I do is, if I'm and it's quite funny, if I'm working with like a new client and I'm meeting a client for the first time, one of the things I do is I probably check online in terms of like, just check them up online in terms of like, who is this person, what do they do, what's like their experience like, or I just chat with people in terms of, I'm meeting with this person, do you know this person, what do they like? And then someone will tell me, this person like this thing, such that, when I'm meeting that person for the first time, I'll just talk about that thing that, they like so much, and before you know it, you strike like, like conversations with them. And like, for example, like, because I work in the UK currently, and one of the things that is quite common is that when you join a meeting, most times the first 5 minutes of the meeting, it's often like for small talks. What I mean small talks is, it will probably be like, if it's a Monday morning, it might just be that, what happened over the weekend, right? Or things like, or if it's like on a Friday, it may probably just be like, maybe the first 5 minutes or like the first 5 minutes after the end of the meeting would be like things like, what's the plan for the weekend? Initially, coming from Nigeria and the UK, weekend is generally for you to just sleep and watch TV and do nothing quite interesting. But I think over time, you needed to like, I think you need to make your life a bit more interesting, get some things like doing outside work, and you can use that opportunity to strike conversation. So it could be like things like around book, it could be like things like around activities, it could be like things like around movies, it could be like things like around sports and stuff like that. Those are the things outside like the core serious rational stuff is one of the key ways in which you could start like, creating that like an icebreaker that you can use to get to start conversation with people. And I'll give you a personal example. Like, before, I'm not someone that like watches like football matches at all. Like, I just like I'm not interested. But when I moved to UK, I found out that football is like almost like the life of a lot of people here. Like either football, cricket and stuff. And then when we go to like client office like on a Monday morning, and then people start talking about the matches that happened over the weekend, and I'm just there mute, can't say anything because I don't watch football. But over time, I think, some of the things I just like I picked interest in it, and, I just follow things. So at times I might not necessarily have to watch like all the football matches over the weekend. I just maybe just check some highlights or, read few things. And then on Monday morning, you can talk about what has happened, over that period. Like the Euro is going on by the moment. I've watched maybe 2 or 3 out of all the matches, but the next morning, like in the office, I can tell you about the dramas that happen in all those matches when people are actually talking in the office. And that's just one of those ways. So you need to like learn, and I picked up like some other activities like like I swim, like I do read as well, but and those are things like when people ask, what's your plan for the weekend, and when you travel as well, it might just be like, what's your experience and stuff. And some of the things I'm saying might not be something that's quite feasible or adaptable like in all environments, for example, but I think there's still quite a lot of interesting stuff that people are generally interested in. It just requires that you try and create that point of connection with people. Connections or networking is really about that. You make it quite human, not quite robotic, and you want to meet people, and the next thing you want to discuss is an accounting standard or a topic or something quite formal or a new industry regulations. We are human first before we are professional. So having that sort of like human connections to people, I think it creates that sort of like that sort of like relationship. And the point is you just be yourself when you're meeting people. I think that bit is like quite important. You need to like be be genuine. When you're meeting people, you don't want to like fake it or act like who you are not, and before you know it, it probably creates like an impression on people, and that's what people will know you for. When people meet me, generally, I'm the type that I smile, like I just smile, and that's why um when I probably meet some people, one of them will probably say, "Oh, this guy that smiles a lot, even when we're in trouble, he still smiles." Right? Or like it could be, in terms of being genuine in terms of like creating like a very good impression as well. It's something that lasts well with people, where when they meet you for the first time, or when you meet people for the first time, you try and create that good impression, but as well be genuine. Creating good impression would be in terms of having some of these easier conversation starter. Things like around how you dress as well is very important. I was at a client meeting, I think it was sometime last week, right? And usually like the dressing policy in firm is you could go with business casual as long as you're not like going to a client in jeans. But generally, like when going for a client meetings, I dress like really smart. And what this person said was that, person greeted me, was a client, but and said, "Oh, good morning, you're looking very smart." And then the person now says, "Always looking very smart." So what that means is that the person has actually been observing you, like you're not just smart on that day alone, but this guy, anytime I meet you, you're always like very, very dressing very, very smart. That's a very good impression as well. So, people have that sort of like impression about you, and you might think that people are not noticing, but they're actually looking at you as well. I think one other thing that ways they can build a network. I think I've mentioned it around being able to talk about many topics. You need to be versatile as well. You don't have to pick interest in everything, right? But you just need to understand what's going on. So, for example, I think last week a couple of there was a cricket World Cup happening. I think it was maybe England and India and some other stuff. So I had like some clients that were supporting. I knew that they follow cricket and they were supporting England. I had some other clients that I knew that they're supporting India and they're watching like some other client. When I'm sending emails to like those two people, I just separate them. I just chip in something quick, briefly as well, to just say, sorry about your loss on the cricket stuff. And then it's the people that I won, I also psych their ego slightly as well. Ultimately it means that people know that you've picked interest in them. So aside from like sports, politics, and economics as well, I have an idea about a lot of things, particularly if they're the area of interest with the people that I want to strike an interest with. You don't really you don't need to know like all the books and chapters about everything, but you just have an idea about everything, so that people see you as an interesting person to talk with. Sort of also consider like volunteering for like leadership opportunities as well, be it at work. If there are things to do at work that are like not like the core activities, try and pick on those things. If there are internal stuff, ultimately some of those things might require that you will interact with like a lot of people in your workplace, or in your school, or whatever setting that you're in. So doing those type of stuff is always like very helpful as well. And I think lastly, it was just in terms of you should be able to have try and also try and also like stay in touch with people. So when you sort of like develop like a network, or you've networked with some person as well, try and keep that relationship active. When you're relationship active is you probably follow up with what they're doing as well. Once in a while keep in touch, and when you want to like keep in touch and follow up with them, one of the things you can mention is maybe something quite recent about what those people are doing that you are following, and so that makes them think that you're keeping in touch with them, even though you're not speaking with them regularly, but you follow their activities essentially, and that's what like keeps the networking quite important as well. then when you are in networking circles and when you're with people as well, try and listen. There's something called like active listening. Some of us, when you go to events or like maybe like an industry event or conferences, you just there and then people just laugh, but you don't like take time to listen, like pick interest and listen to what people say. And that's why you could use to like strike conversations with them, or like use it as a point of contact when you want to reach out to them after that point in time. And I think lastly is one of the bits is in terms of try and create like a personal brand and like an online profile or like an online link as well. So, but I mean, it might be difficult for someone just starting out, but you might want to sort of establish what exactly interests you. So it could be in terms of maybe being active in talks or in conversations on those particular topics online, and generally people just see you as as that kind of person that when people think about personally for me, when things like around like accounting topics or like financial reporting standards, so it's something that I post like quite often on my social media and so on. And oftentimes when people think about something along that line, they would always think about you because you've sort of like created a bit of footprint in that area. So I think it's just one of those ways in which you could sort of like use to start building your network as well. I'm just checking through my notes here. I think I've covered it essentially. But if there's any further questions, you can just let me know as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Idris, for sharing this wonderful insight with us. I mean, starting from when you're networking, I know sometimes we want to network with people above us, but I mean, most times it shouldn't be all the time. You should also leverage like network with people on your level, and sometimes even below your level. Do you get that? Because I mean, we're on a journey in life, and definitely everybody would get to where they are going, at some point, And I mean, imagine you needing someone, in another company. CFO, and you already had, some sort of rapport with the person. Do you get? So it would be kind of easy, but maybe at that point you were like, me that I'm the manager, with someone that is junior accountant, you might, maybe the elbow or feeling too big, but thank God that he was able to do justice to that, and right to the personal branding and all that. Yeah, so those are valuable points, that we should all take note of. So thank you very much, Mr. Idris. I'm so glad, for those wonderful insights you've shared with us. And should in case anyone who have questions for Mr. Idris, do well to drop them on the chat box. And yeah, so I would definitely direct them to him, so we would address the questions. So I would gladly expect those questions in the chat box. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Idris. Thank you, sir. So let's quickly, yeah, I'm so glad, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So let's quickly move to the third speaker. Then we'll do some sort of networking among ourselves. Yeah, we have to be practical with the networking here too. So yeah, so welcome, Mr. Sadiq Yunus. Yeah, so he's an affiliate member of he's an associate member of ACCA, and yeah, he's the top affiliate. Yeah, he's a top affiliate of ACCA, and yeah, so welcome, Mr. Sadiq. Can you please say hello to the audience? It's been more than 1 hour since our speakers have been sharing those wonderful insights with us. Now I want us to be quite practical. I want us to be quite practical now. So I would be dropping the links to the LinkedIn profile of our speakers, and yeah, I want us to connect with them. That's where it all starts from. To get that, I mean, we can't be talking about networking and we are not practicalizing it to get. So just click on the link to the LinkedIn profile, connect with the speakers, and when you're done, click on done. When you're done doing that, tap done on chat box, then drop your own LinkedIn profile link too. Let's connect with you. Ticket, drop yours.
Hi, Ahmed, can you hear me?
With each other. I can hear you, Sadiq. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you just say hello to the attendees?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I don't think I deserve to be a speaker in this audience. We have Majibola speaking. You have Big Four General himself speaking. So I've been taking notes on my end. I'll probably regurgitate what they've said. As far as networking is concerned, because they have more experience and exposure than I do. But I've been here and I've been listening and I've been taking notes, and it's really a pleasure to meet everyone. I also see Richard Okola is also here as well, the tax man.
All right, thank you very much, Sadiq.
Okay, so in answering the first question about how one can effectively ask for job from your network or referrals, I think both speakers have already covered it. It's usually not effective if you are reaching out to someone for the first time and you have your hand out. Apologies that I'm not sharing my video. My network has just started acting up for the past 1 hour now, and I was even joining from two gadgets to prevent that, but still I have to make do what I have. They've said it that the first thing is to first try and be intentional and have a point of reasoning with the said network that you want to reach out to. I think it's important that you are first well connected with people around your level. This is something the speakers have said. So for someone like me, if I'm looking for a new role, the first thing I reach out to people like my friends that are very close to me. That's okay, I'm out there and I'm looking for this, and most of the time they send me job links, adverts, and all of that stuff. And I think recently someone in my network reached out to me for my resume, and then they shared it with an organization. And the interview was just pretty smooth, although I didn't end up accepting the offer. But it just shows that there is that build up. So I wasn't really reaching out to them to help me with a job, but rather I think what has happened is that if you are able to maintain good relationship with those around your level, they are the ones that see you the most. If you are in any organization now and you're doing the best, you are putting the best work that you can do, people tend to want to help you. And when they see opportunities that are aligned with what you do, they tend to either maybe share the application link with you or refer you directly to the job. So what I would say is the most important thing is about putting in your best work and ensuring that those around you, those that can easily see your colleagues and your managers are able to see that this guy is putting in his best. So when they see that you are putting in your best, it makes it easier for them to refer you again, because people don't want to refer you to jobs that they know that when you get there you probably not perform, because it also weakens their own social contract. So imagine if you are close to Mr. Idris now, for example, or Ajibola, for example, he wouldn't, if he probably sees roles that people come to him that, can you help me get a financial analyst? And he just looks at it and says, okay, I think I have some people I can just connect. But number one is, if he doesn't even know you at all, there's no way he's going to refer you. That's why you need to, try and get that visibility via social networks. As you've said, he posts often, so engage people that post. And number two, again, which is the key one I was hammering on, because is getting the visibility might not be as easy because you're just starting out. If you are just starting out, so if you're putting in your work and someone gets to see it and say, oh, I can actually recommend this or refer this person for these opportunities, so it makes it easy for them to refer you, because they know that, oh, they can trust the person that is bringing in this person. So I think that's one thing I would like to say. I don't think there's anything I'm going to say about effectively that is really new. But another thing that I would want to say is uh, trying to build your own social profile or your network. As I mean, trying gradually to do that. You may, if you are an accountant, or I assume most of us on this call would be accountants, but if you are in other professions as well, LinkedIn now, whenever I join LinkedIn now, I get to read a lot of posts from people who are more knowledgeable and have done things that I aspire to do later in the future. And you can always like learn from those people and engage their content. That gives you visibility. And I think another thing I would also want to say is when being an accountant comes with you have a certain kind of skills that some people that are not accountants, especially in your organization, have, which is the reason why you also have to ensure that you are not just sitting in your corner, working on your Excel, working on your spreadsheets. You're relating with your colleagues, the people that you work with. So because sometimes most of these people, they don't even know how to handle a spreadsheet, handle a PowerPoint. So you get sometimes I have people that say, "Oh, sorry, please, I don't know how to do this thing." It's not like I'm like an Excel group, right? But the basic sum function, if function, some people don't know how to use it. It might seem pretty basic to you because that is what you do. But if you are always out there with the intention of, trying to help people with their task, especially when they want to use tools that you are very, very familiar with, it gives you that visibility. Oh, if I'm having issue with Excel, I can just ask that. Oh, what formula do I need to do this? Some people are still typing things 1, 2, 3, one by one on themselves, like by themselves on their spreadsheet, and you can just tell them that, look, this is how you do it, and you become their friend and their go-to guy. And when they see things like that, they tend to want to come to you. I also had an interesting opportunity working in an edtech startup, and I was, apart from my colleague, I was more like on the academic content team, the only person with like accounting, finance background, right? And the role entailed I had to write scripts, and then they would shoot these scripts to record accounting lessons. So that role allowed me to really, really have more insight, because I have to think of how I'm going to explain whatever it is I put on my scripts to people who are non-accountants. So I have people like animators, illustrators. This is a different kind of setting to the one that the Big Four Star General will be used to, because in Big Four and corporate setting, you're meant to go in there with your suit and tie. I'm talking to guys in dreadlocks and this thing because they are like the artistic guy right now. When you talk to them, you're telling them debit is this, credit is that. People start asking you a question: why do I have debit alert on my bank account and not credit alert? Since you say if I receive money and I'm posting it in the book, I'm supposed to debit bank, credit, income, the way we know it in accounting, right? So all of these things allows you to explain their work to them, because they need to understand it so that they can put the correct rendering of what I have written on the script that I've written to them that they have to work on. So meaning that it allows me to talk to people in various departments. So in your own role, you might be working with people who are knowledgeable, but sometimes given the nature of what you do as accountants, you get to explain some technical things that some of these people don't know. You are going to, if you work where you have to work on the budget of your company, or you are doing a monthly performance report and you need to prepare their management and then compare it with the budget. All of those things are going to happen because people will come to you and start asking you questions like, why is my sales not showing this and that? And you need to now try to empathize with them. Don't be all about the standards. As Idris said, you need to empathize with them to understand their problem and help them solve it. There are lots of ways, right? People come to you and say, okay, I work in an organization where they also the main source of revenue is in FX, right? So people come to you and say, okay, what happens if I buy and sell at this rate and I'm cross funding across multiple FX pairs? So let's say I do NGN USD and then I do GBP USD later on. How can I cross match those transactions so that they have income that they can show that they are reporting, right? They might not know it because they know that if you're doing FX, if you do only one side of an FX transaction, you've not really made income once you've closed that transaction. I hope I'm not speaking too technical here, but if I sell dollar today at 1.5 if I sell dollar today at 1,500 naira, so I have $10,000 and I sell it at 1,500 naira for each $10,000, I do not have any income until I'm able to do the buy of that transaction, so I can say I now have income on the total $10,000 that I've bought and sold. So you working in finance or accounting gives you that opportunity that you are able to explain to these people, help them with their issues, show them the reports, and even from early onset, you can even help them create a different type of report for the purpose of measuring their own performance. Because if someone is closing a contract of 10 million naira, for example, and based on the accrual or matching concept, you can only recognize income of 1 million naira for the month. You'll be doing that person a disservice if you are putting a management account and you are putting 1 million naira. That way people you become like an enemy to them. So, but when you understand where their angle of where they're coming from, you are able to say, okay, this is the challenge we have. Okay, for our internal sales monitoring report, we can have a different kind of report. This is not something that we publish externally. Of course, we will still use our standard if we have to report externally. But if we want to track people's performance, you can't take the IFRS 15 or whatever standard you're using to do that. So that comes in because of the knowledge that you have and because you are also able to relate with people. They've also mentioned becoming an interesting person. My last role, the person that referred me because we met when I was still serving, and he came in as a consultant for treasury. But I'm someone that I read a lot. We started talking about he brought some books to read for the weekend. I think one of the books he brought was Good to Great by Jim Collins. That's one of the best business books that I've read, and we spoke a bit about it, and he liked me. Sometimes I can just help him with maybe print something and all of that, and then years later just reached out to me that, Sadiq, there's this role in this organization, I think you'll be a good fit. And that was how I got the role. Again, you want to look at networking from the point of view of what you can add, as well as you are looking for what you can also get. Because if you are only considering the aspect of me, what is the need for me in networking, you look like a pest. And I think one pitfall that I think I fell into in terms of networking for me was when I finished, I sent a message to someone that please come and be my mentor. And I think some people have been getting that, and I think people need to stop that. And this is my own opinion, right? Especially if you have people who are already doing a lot in terms of posting. Idris post very often on anything IFRS. If I need to go for an interview tomorrow and I want to brush up IFRS, I won't go and carry the whole IFRS. If I just go to his Twitter page, I will see the latest IFRS that he has posted. I can just review them, take notes, and move on. And then I have it, right? I follow him. Ajibola also posted something recently about transitioning from Big Four to a small and medium enterprises, right? And so it makes it easier that they're already pushing out a lot of content. It may be difficult for you to send them like a message that come and be my mentor, and you start wondering how will that mentorship look like. But if you have a specific issue that you want them to like guide you on, so hi, please, I just got 2 offers, or I'm trying to decide between doing this and that, and I know that you've done it before. What are your thoughts? How can I help? If they have time, of course they are going to, and sometimes they would probably have even posted things like this to Jibola posts regularly. I'm not that active again on LinkedIn as I was before when I was a student. All I post is I've passed through, and the way the posts that you see from people that are just starting up. I'm excited to have joined this organization and all of that. But I'm saying that when you think of networking and you're starting to think about mentorship will come when you have the chance to like work closely with this kind of people, like, right, people that you admire, not necessarily because you've sent them like a message that please come and be my mentor. And I mean, and Richard and Iwilabi, my friend today, they do a mentorship program. That's one how you can apply, and then when you get in, you get to ask them questions. They get to guide you on plenty things, decisions that they've made. But if you want to reach out to people in terms of networking, you want to come off as specific. Maybe you have a particular challenge, you have a decision that you want to make and you're not sure how to go about it, you can reach out. I mean, I have a lot of people that have reached out to me on, oh, I want to start KCCA, how do I prepare, how do I practice? So I try as much as possible in my own way to guide them. This is what I did, and sometimes I even give my contacts out. Okay, let's have a call so that I can just talk to you about this thing in about 30 minutes and you are able to go. So I think I'm going to stop here and wrap up unless there are any specific questions for me. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Ahmed, and thank you, Idris, and thank you, Mr. Jubola, too, for being on the call. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you very much, Sadiq. I'm so glad for those insights that you've shared. I mean, they're wonderful insights. Yeah, thank you very, very much. Yeah, so, but this is my own question to you. And the question is that, I mean, I've like, kind of, should I say, been following you quite a while. You've been this outstanding guy, and how have you been able to, like, keep it up, maintain it to get, like, this is just my own personal question to you.
Well, I think there are, we all have our whys, right? And again, this is how you get to know people. Sometimes is from their social presence. You kind of see it. For example, now, even though I've never spoken directly one-on-one with Idris, I mean, I feel like I know him a bit through my friend Iwilabi. Before even like, because Iwilabi has been like a very, very close friend of mine. We attended the same secondary school, but he was a year ahead of me in terms of education at secondary school level. So and I know Idris is like he was brought up in Lagos. There's a time he tweeted about playing rubber band. I mean, these are like things that can be icebreakers. He's a Liverpool fan. So and for me, I'm born and bred in Lagos. I'm from a humble background, and I mean, all of those is going to, I mean, factoring into how I view life and what I'm trying to obtain from it, right? So what I try to do, I try to put in my best in what I do. To just say it in a plain way, I mean, I want to be, I mean, rich. Everybody's aiming to be wealthy and all of that. I mean, so that's on one end in terms of, okay, do I have aspirations? So what I've just noticed is that when you are good enough, the opportunities are going to come. You just need to work and ensure that you are ready for those opportunities when they come. So if you're and you need to also understand yourself and play to your strengths, right? If you are from a humble background and someone is telling you school na scam, better change circles, right? Because the easiest way is arguable, right? Some people say it's not, but I think the easiest way is putting in efforts on your education and your self-development. So it's something I don't joke with for me, and even people around me and my circles, kudos, we spend, you spend like half of your salary trying to just buy a course or do something like that. So, and also ensure that you are not abusing opportunities that come to you. So I see some people, I mean, because you get funded for when they write their professional exam, they do it, I mean, as it comes, right? So I'm not that kind of person, and I'm not trying to waste opportunities that are afforded to me. So that motivation has been there. I mean, to be their aspirations. I mean, to earn well, to live life, to make an impact. And I try to ensure that in everything I do, in all I do, I don't do things with half commitment. So if I want to do something, I want to be in there, and then I want to ensure that I'm putting in my best. Other than that, I would rather not. I would rather not do things with half attempts. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, sure, it does. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I'm so glad. I mean, now my jota is very, very full right now. You know, I've learned a whole lot from this webinar myself. You know, and yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, so let's quickly go to the Q&A session. I don't want to take longer time. Yeah, so a quick question for Mr. Ajibola. Mr. Ajibola Jinodu. Mr. Ajibola, are you there, sir? Are you there? So it's an I was told to make it anonymous. Actually, you know, it's not you know, a deep question like that. This is just a very simple question. And the question goes as those: as a young professional with a lot of SMEs around, you know, always inquiring for accounting and tax services, you know, how can one start a consulting firm? Did you get that, sir?
Yeah, yes, I did. That's a should I say a completely different question. So how do I answer this? So just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you should set up a business around it. And it's very critical. So the fact that you know how to teach doesn't mean you should set up a school. And because the business of doing a business and the business of running a business are two completely different things. But that being said, if you are really interested in performing some of these services as a side business or a side also first, that can also work. And if I want to tie it back to networking, it starts with the people you know around you. So once they know that you can do something, they can actually be one of the first people to help spread the word. I gave an example of my very first client coming from my sister. So at least you need to talk to people around you first, within your network, that you can do something, that you offer such services. But that being said, if you're going into what I call business, then you need to understand a lot of things. You need to understand sales, you need to understand marketing, you need to understand leverage, you need to understand so many things that are actually completely different from the fact that you know how to maybe prepare accounts, or you know how to prepare to do tax services. But if you're going that route, then you need to set all of these things in motion. Building a strong brand is very important. And the brand is what speaks for you when you're not in the room. Otherwise, you just are going to need to shout, to be shouting all the time. I do this, I do this, I do that. When in actual fact, your brand can speak for you. When you're not even in the room. So starting that is when you're really, let me just summarize. I would recommend starting it as a side business first, so you learn some things around how it works, and then if you're going to set up a full consulting firm, then just it's going to take a whole lot, and it's bigger than the technical aspects that you have in there. But if you're going that route, just leverage on your network to help start to spread the word, and then the biggest source or the best source of clients ever, no matter how much you spend, the best source of clients is always referrals. So you do good work for one, they would speak of your praises to another, and then all that just continues to should I say escalate or cascade from there.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajibola. That's a very nice one. Yeah. So someone, yeah, you actually done justice to that question. Thank you very much. So I could see a comment. Someone saying a question is actually something that is wondering me. Okay. So Amos, if you're there, can you unmute your mic while you ask a question, so you can get to answer it quickly? Or if there's anyone that has questions, let's do it one at a time, so you can unmute your mic and ask the question. All right. While waiting for the questions, I dropped the links to the LinkedIn profile of our speakers, and yeah. So, but I think a few people to ensure you do that quickly, not networking. So we just have to be very, very practical. Yeah. So hence, we have to, also connect with ourselves. Yeah. Have to connect with ourselves. Okay. The question goes as thus. Amos, it's here to go for the service year and major internship. All right. So as a young graduate to go for a service year and major internship requires you must have completed your NYSC, and seeking for jobs or roles that you can learn seems difficult due to lack of experience and all. How do I go about it? Because it's quite tiring most times. I would love if more light can be shared on this. Yeah, so I wouldn't want to overload our speakers. I think Mr. Jubola answered the first question, so I'd like to call on Mr. Idris to answer the second question, sir. Mr. Idris, are you with us, sir?
So how do you ask a job from a person you've not been in contact with for a long time? Should I give up on just asking? I think this is back to the original point, right, that I mentioned in terms of, sort of like keeping in touch and with your contact, like that's like very, very important. So that wouldn't put you in this sort of like a situation. However, if it's something that I don't know how you get to know about the information, or it's just like pure asking, but in any case, you still probably want to create a point of connection. And the point of connection will probably be, if it's been a long time, you want to maybe mention something initially that, that you've been aware of that, or you've been following about the person or their company or stuff like that. And then, just go on with, points where, I was wondering if, that's like the British variety of asking for something where you want to ask for something, but it's more like, I was wondering if there's an opportunity for something like this, or I thought it would be helpful to ask if there's an opportunity like this for somewhere, or I've been learning this kind of stuff recently, and I'm not looking to pivot into this type of like opportunity or this sort of experience, and I thought maybe this might be something I might be able to get to your company, or something you might be able to help with, happy to set up a call to chat up or something like that. Just find a means of connection. Talk about, perhaps maybe like a baseline in terms of, why you're probably looking to get into the opportunity, and then you then go on to ask for, if they can help essentially.
All right. Thank you very much for the response, Mr. Idris. Thank you very, very much. You actually nailed the point. Yeah. Starting with, so you just try to, find a common interest, try to see what person, has interest in, or something like to, form a basis to reach out to the person. Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Idris, for that. Yeah. So to the question about NYC. Yeah. So okay. Sadiq, please, are you still with us? I would like you to answer that part. About getting jobs, and most jobs require NYSC, but how can he land a role, knowing fully well that he hasn't completed the NYSC yet, and he needs experience.
Okay. Can you hear me? Just to be sure that
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. As far as job requirements are concerned, when it comes to this person, I'm not sure if they are like about to go for NYSC or they are not doing NYSC at all. I mean, that's it. But if, because my first job out of school, I mean, before I finished school, I've done a couple of internships. What I did was immediately I finished my first year, right? I mean, I was passionate about accounting. I'm still passionate about accounting. First year, I had my results. I took my results. I worked to, apart from EY, I think I worked to all the big fours. No, apart from PwC, rather. I went to EY. EY is at Marina. I went to KPMG at their Bishop Aboyade Towers. I went to Deloitte at the Civic Towers. I was carrying my one-pager CV, no job experience at the end of 1 year. And then, I mean, I was talking to receptionists, gate man. I looked for small accounting firms too. And I mean, my first job was with a small accounting firm, Muidin Rufai & Partners, right? I walked in, it wasn't like he posted or anything. I said, I'm a student, I'm an accounting student, I'm looking for an internship. And I got the job like right on the spot. But from him, I didn't, all the day before, I never got anything from them. They didn't call me back or anything. I mean, but I still dropped my first year result there and my CV with whoever I was able to drop it with. So I was just fortunate that when I went to the Muidin Rufai & Partners, the accounting firm, I was able to meet the managing partner. I spoke with him. He asked me some questions. Okay, you said you studied accounting, and I mean, that was it. And I got like my internship. And then, and when I finished school, whilst waiting for NYSC, I applied for another job too. So they didn't really put it that you must have NYSC, but I mean, the requirement is you're about to go for NYSC or something like that. So I can't really recollect. But what I would say is that if this person is about to go for NYSC, right, I think they can say that they are awaiting NYSC, especially if it's an internship. I don't think there's usually a very strict requirement that you must have completed an NYSC program before you are able to like get an internship position. And in fact, sometimes you see jobs that are looking for people that are serving so that they can work as interns. So they use the internship period. So they work with the company, and that company becomes their primary place of assignment. So maybe the current ones you are seeing are the ones that have that issue. But sometimes you just need to even apply for any job. I mean, the first thing is to apply. Let them be the one to decide that you are not fit for the job. So don't disqualify yourself before even applying. That's one thing I would say. And so if you're also awaiting NYSC, there are plenty of things that you can do, right? If you are a student looking to become a professional, this is the time to register for professional courses. You probably did not do much in terms of the Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, and even the new tools now around AI whilst in school. So this is another time to start brushing up on those skills, right? Can you take a short course? Some of them you pay for, some of them you don't. I mean, you can get free courses on them. You need to, so there are some Telegram links. I joined them. I mean, so you just to go and get code so that you can, and even some Twitter handles on that you can follow. I think Omo Alaja, I can't remember his handle exactly. And I think Moments with Brain, they post things around courses and all of that stuff. You want to take all of those courses and all of those courses that can boost your professional skills and also brush your technical know-how on the field, on the accounting or finance that you claim to have studied, or banking or anything like that. Because what it does for you is, if you have to write a cover letter for yourself as a fresh graduate, you want to write something interesting. You don't have any years of experience, but you can talk about something that you recently learned. Oh, I'm passionate about learning finance, and I just read that I just completed CFI Investment Foundations program. That was what I put in my cover letter when I applied for my the graduate training program I did at the time I was waiting for NYSC. So I would say the person should not be discouraged. I mean, getting a job is a job. It's tough out sometimes. I mean, but if you wait it out, don't get discouraged because you've seen a few that said you must have completed NYSC. But again, still shoot your shot. They can call you and then you get to explain that, oh, I'm awaiting NYSC. That's the reason why I have not completed the NYSC. Or you're probably serving, but you are not done yet. So you can still include that there, maybe in your CV, maybe in your cover letter, or maybe when you get to an interview. So you would always see these opportunities around. There are WhatsApp groups that you can join. I think someone to also join on LinkedIn. There's Teremba Sipav. He posts regularly. I think there's an accounting group that he created, right? They post these things there. You can also see all these internship jobs there. I think Finance Business Partner too. There's a group. They also post regularly, and then when internships and jobs like that come on, you get to apply for them. So I'll just say that what you can do for yourself is try and brush up on your technical skills, and also try and other skills that you might need, right? There are free courses on CFI, so that you know that you can work with basic Excel, you can do some pivot tables. I mean, the basic thing, you don't have to know everything, but at least you know some that are very, very useful to the work that you want to do. That way you come across as a ready candidate. So even this condition about NYSC, apart from listed entities and big entities, public interest entities like PwC and the listed companies, the PLCs and all of that stuff, sometimes these requirements are things that can really be overlooked. I'm not saying you will not serve, but if you have not served, there are people that have worked and they've never served, right? So that's my advice for them. For the time, don't get tired. Looking for a job can be exhausting, but try and ensure that you're brushing up on the skills that you need to have. There are lots of avenues for you to get these skills. Profile and as well. So if you are still that that being done by you get to meet them, they expose you to a lot of things, right? And even when they see things around internship, they share it with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sodiq, for the wonderful insight I shared. Just to reiterate what you said, definitely. You haven't completed NYC. This is the right time for you to hone your skills. You haven't, written professional exams. You can write them, and at Exec Academy, you can help you with that. ICAN, ICSAN, CITN. Name it. Do you get that? So, and most importantly, decide, okay, which career path do you want to pursue, and try to take up internships and all. At least, you can get maybe, how do I put it now, maybe analyst role, or whatever, that would most likely require, you having completed NYSC, you might want to take up internship, just go through that, take up internship, use it to build those practical experiences to get to, and I believe, you've got this. So, time is not by our side, but, we have two questions left. I want us to quickly go through them. So, so we can, answer the questions, So, easy now. Quick question for Mr. Ajibola. So someone that is transitioning in career and has little or no experience on the new career path. Someone that is transitioning to a new career and has no experience or little experience in that career path. How can this person utilize networking in building a professional career path? So Mr. Ajibola, kindly answer that. Thank you.
I think the answer is the same. So your network already knows what you can do, or should know what you can do. So if it's a close-knit network, that's your family, your friends, your bosses, your colleagues, people that they already know that yeah, even though you don't have a certain experience or certain, say, formal experience, but they actually know you can do certain things. So leveraging on your network to help you get opportunities should be easier. But I'm not saying getting the job would then be easy, because you still have to convince the person on the other side that it's going to give you a job, that, okay, even though my first 5 years I've been in accounting. Sorry about that. So even though you're trying to say the first 5 years I've been in accounting, but now I want to pivot to tech. While your network can know that yes, you can do that, the people on the other side, you'll be like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. But then if you still do have people that can speak on your behalf, that are connected, and that can even get you into the room, that sometimes it's just about getting into the room, and then once you get into the room, you then show what you can do. Just continue using your network for that. And then if you, beyond just the people in your space that you have, so if you already feel like, again, back to the example, let's say accounting moving to tech, that's what you want to do. Like I said, it's not at the point where you want to transition that you start to find people. Once you're already thinking that, then you start to hang around people that are already in tech. Like you start following them, engaging their content, start having the discussions around that. So yes, you're still in accounting, but you're already thinking of moving to tech in the near future. So you don't wait until it's time to, oh, I need jobs, I need opportunities. You start building that stuff. So if your closed network, so to speak, can help you in that space, you start building the people that are in that space that can actually start to see that you're already thinking in that line. And all you're trying to do in the long run is just to bring those people back into your closed network. So because when it's time to actually make the move, they understand that you're very passionate about what you're doing. You already have some level of informal experience, and then it makes it very easy to make that transition. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that mind-blowing response. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajibola. So the last question for today. Yeah, the last question for today. So I will direct that to Mr. Idris. Yeah, so the question goes as those, someone that is very private, a very private person, how do you recommend, this person to build his network, and how can this person retain his connections, So, I would like to direct that to Mr. Idris. So, Mr. Idris, are you with us, sir?
Yes. So, I think I understand what the person means, because particularly the person mentioned sort of attending events and seminar. And I guess what this person means is that the person is the type that is like quite shy, the gentle type, and doesn't talk so much. And a lot of people will be surprised that that's exactly my personality. For those that are like very, very close to me, you know that I'm like the very, very gentle type, and I don't talk if not being asked. But I mean, at times, and perhaps as you go in your professional career as well, you don't have to change your personality, but there are some things that you probably just need to do in some specific settings as well. Otherwise, you might just be that silent type, and you might not get exactly where you would like to get to. So things around like being visible online, right? It's really around like things that really matters, maybe posting things like professional stuff and the likes, right? I mean, on Twitter, I post about IFIs and stuff, and on a few occasions, I post about Liverpool or maybe some few things as well. But to be honest, that's probably less than maybe like 5% of exactly everything that happens in my life outside of that medium. But maybe except for people that are close to me knows like quite a lot of things happening, and those ones are just like, very few out of those things. So you can still be private and still like have online visibility, And then second is that you can still attend the event. And I think, as I've mentioned, it just required being deliberate in terms of, when you're having the event, maybe you probably want to, think about like interesting topics depending on who you're chatting with. But the point is you need to like make some specific effort as much as possible. And then in that, just maybe that's sort of like guardian, which is like perhaps like maybe an hour, 30 minutes of like networking. If you speak to 2 or 3 people, you won't die. And then you can go back home and being like you're a very gentle person. But I think to sort of create that bit of visibility for yourself, there's always this bit of adjustment as well, and it's not like you'd have to go there and start shouting, but it's really around like creating a meaningful connection. So regardless of how gentle that you can be, you can still create that meaningful connection. And the way you can create meaningful connection is try to do a bit of research and insight as to who you are going to meet, such that maybe just some few things you can talk, and within 5-10 minutes you're done and you don't have to like talk for long. The major problem is that people that are like so shy, they don't talk so much. And then the other problem was that they don't have anything to talk about. You would almost enter the ground, and when people are talking and you can't say anything. So I think it was the aspect of where not having so much to say. I think that was the aspect that I think I worked on personally as well, and I had to like do quite a lot of stuff, and personally and doing some stuff as well, so that you can ultimately sort of have like an icebreaker and struck off conversation with people as well. So it's more of preparation as well as making some little bit of effort as well. I would answer the question.
Yeah, definitely it does. It does. Thank you very much, Mr. Idris. I think, you actually give a very concise response to that question, and that's fantastic. Yeah, so that's the last question we'll be attending to. But quickly, Richie has some insights, just some few tips to share with us. So the rich taxman. Let me put it that way. The rich taxman. So you have it for sir. Richie.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and thanks to all the speakers. If you see you can see my jotter. You see that I've jotted a lot of things from the speakers, and one of the key ones that I wanted to talk about, right, was part of what Mr. Ajibola already mentioned, and he talked about building relationship, right? If for those that joined earlier, you would notice where he mentioned that one of the partners called him, have you been able to lead this project, right? And that is where I'm going to be emphasizing on in my addition. And the emphasis is on checking up on people, right? Many times we focus too much on those that are outside our control. For example, I'm trying to get Elon Musk because I really like his work. I like what he's doing. So I want to be his accountant. So I'm trying so much to get Elon Musk. So that the effort it will take so much more effort than if I'm trying to get somebody that is within my circle first. Let's say I'm trying to get Dangote first. Right. So what I'm going to emphasize on is that let's try to, first of all, like the speakers have rightly said, build relationship. And that relationship should not be just people above you. It can be on your level, can even be below you. And I'll give you a live example. So I got to KPMG through a friend that was a classmate. Right? We were just discussing that. Where are you? He said, I'm in KPMG. How did you get there? And then so these are I did it. He helped me to submit my CV and all those things, and the rest is the story today. Right? Then when I was going to move to another firm too, it was a friend in KPMG that also, oh Richard, there's another opportunity in this place. Then he's also sent my CV. I went there, did interview, I passed, right? Then I was in that other company too. Then one director from EY that already knew me from LinkedIn this time. I was like, oh. So I posted something on my WhatsApp status and he said, okay, I think I posted that night that, oh man, I'm extremely tired that I just wish there's something that can be paying me and I'm just going to be delivering the one I already know. And you just say, oh, come, we have the opportunity at EY, you will work or you will be paid very well for it. And I just send my CV and then the rest is the story today. So what am I saying in essence is that there's a need for you to constantly check up on people. And it is when you check up on them constantly that they have you in mind, that they keep you in mind. Like Mr. Jibola now, I'm sure that there will be several people that the partner also knows, right? But because of the constant relationship, he must have reminded him, he must have recalled, oh, this guy can actually do the job. And in addition to that, right, I'm just going to give a live example so that people can actually relate with this. So one of my very close friends got chartered 2 weeks ago and was like, oh, Richard, I'm chartered now. I'm underpaid where I am and the lights, blah, blah, blah. I really need a new job. I told him, send your CV. We did the CV. I sent it to a particular company CFO. They reviewed it. Okay, they invited him for interview. And I'm telling you that within 2 weeks, he did the interview. He passed. And he's going to be resuming by the end of this month. Now, what I'm saying, the second point I'm trying to emphasize here is being prepared. I know Mr. Idris mentioned it in his last conversation just now, that you cannot underemphasize the fact that you have to also be prepared for the opportunities, right? So a lot of people want opportunities from job perspective, connection, networking, and the likes. But imagine that you have the opportunity and you are not prepared for it. It's just like somebody trying to travel abroad, right? Then they link you up with the recruiter. They did everything finished and they ask for your passport. You don't have it. And you know how that it can mess you up in the kind of country that we are. You know that. So I'll just emphasize on those two things, that be intentional about checking up on people, right? Reach out to that boss, reach out to that friend. Hello, how are you doing? Longest time. They will have you in mind, especially when you have challenges like job search and the likes. They would like prioritize you because you constantly check up. It's not like when you need money that you go and meet them. So that's just my key point that I wanted to add to it. And thank you very much to the speakers. I really learned a lot from this session personally. And thank you, Sadiq, also. I picked from his conversation on engaging on social media contacts, like engaging on social media platforms. Like he was able to relate, and I can relate to what he mentioned regarding Mr. Jibola's post about someone working in Big Four, taking up a smaller role in that firm. And also with Idris, for example, I still saw his post like 1 hour or 2 hours ago about IFRS weekly, right? So those are things, when I'm going to talk to someone like Idris now, like I even started a chat with Idris this week, right? So we've never met, but how you start up conversation is by taking out from what you've learned from them, whether online or indirectly from a conference. And then, by the time you talk to them, it just flows smoothly as if you've been talking for a long time. So I'm just going to say that people on the call should just take note of those points, and we can work with them prospectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Richie. I'm so glad. Thanks for adding those valuable points. Yeah, so I've taken 6 minutes out of our time, and I don't want to take more, because I understand time is money, as they used to say. Yeah, so thank you very much to our wonderful speakers. Thank you very much, Richie. Thank you to those that ask questions, and so the connecting, the LinkedIn profile part, I understand some of us have been connecting with ourselves, but it's not let's keep following our speakers, and let's drop Mr. Ajibola. Okay, no problem. I saw your comment on chat box. No problem, sir. Thank you, sir. I sincerely appreciate you. Thank you very much. So, on the screen you would see, an ICAN result. So this is for one of our skills level students. This Sadiq mentioned something like that as regards, sitting for professional exams, developing your professional skills. Yeah, so this is where the academy would actually help you. We offer quality online and also on demand courses on the professional programs, ICAN, CITN, ACCA, name it. Yeah, So definitely, and also, yeah, so we have our flyers. You can see it's for ICAN, CITN. So CITN lectures are ongoing, ACC is ongoing, and yeah, ICAN is starting on Monday. So should in case you have further questions as regards the lectures, you can just drop a message, to the number I'll be dropping on WhatsApp now. I mean on the chat box now. So just drop a message, and I would gladly respond to your questions, or inquiries. So thank you very much, everyone. Or some sort of giveaways, yeah. So. And how do we do it now? How do we do it? Okay, so can Mr. Chibola and Mr. Test this thing that was key, in what they said, and that was kind of very similar. Can someone just quickly walk us through that? And there's a prize for the person. So let's do it. Just attempt. Okay. Let me check tab box. Hopefully someone would have. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Idris. I saw your comment too. Thank you very much. I'm so glad to have you here, and thank you very much for those wonderful insights that were contributed. Thank you very much, sir. I sincerely appreciate it. Yeah. So okay. So one thing that was very, that was similar about you following up, you following up for people. Yeah. So it's very, it's very key. Yes, it's very key. It's not about, connecting with people alone, follow up, once in a while, check up, hi, how you doing? It's been a while, I know that to get. So it's lighting up the sort of relationship that, that's between, you and the person. Do you get? Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So guys, on the chat box. Yeah, so I dropped the Exec Academy official line on the chat box. Yeah, so I want you all to send us, to send a message now, tell me what you learned from the webinar. And also I'd like to know which of the professional programs you're sitting for, you like to sit for, so from there we'll take up from there. So, and if you message me states that you attended the webinar, so you qualify for some sort of discount, and rebate, just because you attended the webinar. So just message me now, tell put it in the message, yes, you attended the webinar, and yeah, so take it up from there. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm so glad to have us in this webinar, and yeah, I believe we all learned a lot from our speakers. I believe we all learned a lot from our speakers. Yeah, from our speakers. So thank you very much, everyone. I wish us a wonderful, and rewarding career ahead, and yeah. So let's take those tips, those wonderful tips. Let's take them, very. Let's hold them in our left hand, Let's hold them tight, and yeah. So So I look forward to we meeting at the top. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone. Take care. If you haven't connected with our speakers, ensure you do that. Ensure you do that. I'll tag the links again. So do that quickly. Ensure you do that quickly. So. And also, yeah, most importantly, follow the Academy on our socials. Yeah. So follow us. Like I said, qualified for some sort of amazing prizes when you follow us and follow our social media, our social media pages. So thank you very much, everyone. Sincerely appreciate you all for attending the webinar. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.